Hi, I'm Chris, founder of Umano, the creators of your team performance app. Let's take a walk through and understand how Umano's embedded insights helps your teams continuously improve by embedding aligned insights as they plan, track, and review in their regular working cycles. Here we are on the landing page. This acts as your central hub for all of the teams connected to your workspace. Each team is represented by a card where you can see their team name, the current sprint or interval that they're in with the dates, the team members, as well as a very, very quick snapshot of how the team is currently performing in that interval with respect to metrics that they're improving upon, as well as metrics that are lagging and require some attention. So let's take a deep dive and see how it visualizes your team's performance data so that they can take action and continuously improve. Here we've landed at your team's active cycle hub, with their active cycle being their current sprint or iteration. The active cycle collates your team's performance-based data in their planner, tracker, and reviewer. Let's take a look at the planner. The planner acts like your team's sprint calculator. It helps teams build more accurate, predictable plans by matching data from their current sprint or iteration as they plan it out and matches that relative to their usual plan. This way, Umano gives guidance on whether the team is underplanned, overplanned, or matched according to their usual capacity. In a future state, let's jump into one now, Umano helps teams edit their plan live by giving them the variables that impact the way that they can plan. For example, they can change number of team members or working days, the team's capacity, or the amount of work that they think is being carried over into their future sprint. In this way, we're giving teams the levers to pull so that they can see the impact that these levers may have on building a more accurate, aligned plan. Also provided to the team is a set of completion predictions, where based on the team's estimation practices, if they estimate, of course, Umano provides teams with the usual cycle time per estimate bracket. So for example, in this case, the usual cycle time for this team of a size 0.5 story point is 1 hour and 8 minutes, a 1 story point 3 days, a 2 story point 6 days. You get the gist. As the team builds out its plan, Umano sees how many issues are being assigned in this particular estimate bracket and then provides an estimated number of man days to complete that amount of work based on their actual cycle time. In this way, teams can take the predicted time to complete divided by the number of team members, the actual number of working days, to give a perspective on the predicted days to complete this plan. And by giving teams this data both from their sprint or iteration, Umano helps teams pull the levers that matter most so that they can set the right expectations in what they're planning and deliver for success. When a team is ready to commence their sprint, they can use Tracker to visualize and track performance according to plan. Here we are in the sprint or iteration summary view of the team's performance. Umano visualizes the team's workflow and performance across design and build, review, and engagement practices. Each workflow has a set of agility outcomes that teams are aspiring to improve, such as speed or progress or predictability. Each outcome then has a set of metrics that are indicators to help the teams understand their current and improving pace for that particular agility outcome. In this case, speed is typically measured by cycle time, where Umano measures the current cycle time for the team and benchmarks it against the team's usual or rolling median performance. In this way, teams can get an instant snapshot of whether they're performing above or below their usual way of working. In this case, we can see that cycle time has improved, and so Umano is giving feedback to suggest this is better than their usual. We can also see, though, a lot of yellow flags where metrics may be lagging for the team for that particular sprint. And this creates an opportunity for the team to really focus on what's going on and deep dive into the things that are most affecting their behavior. In this way, all metrics are supported by a chart or deep dive view, where the team's performance is plotted as the solid line and then benchmarked against the team's usual or rolling median being the dotted line. Any of the sprint can be selected to then showcase all of the supporting assigned data for that sprint so that the teams can see themselves in the data and understand what's actually going into that roll-up median view of their performance for that metric. In this case, we're looking at time and status, and we can see, based on all of the issues assigned and the workflow and speed that each issue moves through its status, how Umano generates the sprint-based median score for that particular metric. And so that's the tracker, this toggle between what the team snapshot looks like, as well as a deep dive contextual view into understanding what's most impacting the score for that sprint, and therefore giving the teams data to showcase outliers that they may address or opportunities to optimize in that particular aspect of their workflow. To help teams really create focused improvement, teams can also filter their dashboard based on the metrics that they want to see. They can do this by choosing either metrics specific to their role type, jobs to be done, or they can create custom filters for their dashboard and really just select perhaps the 2 or 3 that relate to the outcome that they're most seeking to improve. These filters can be applied either for you individually or for you in your entire team so that all the team is focused on that particular custom filter. Ojo, AI-powered coach, helps teams take action based on specific observations and suggestions as they're building out their work. For example, in this particular sprint, Ojo summarizes specific areas of improvement, as well as calling out areas that may need attention in their ways of working. For example, in this case, the team has lagged, and so Umano is making observations about what's occurred, as well as suggestions on what the team can do to improve this particular aspect of their way of working. As the team nears or completes its sprint or iteration, Umano helps teams build that reflective muscle through 3 specific ways within its reviewer. Let's take a look. The reviewer helps teams understand their ways of working and review their practices in 3 specific ways. The first is team vibe. Here, teams capture how they're feeling about their work based on any questions that you may ask of the team. These could be poll or open answered based questions, where answers are then stacked sprint on sprint so that you can track how the team is feeling over time. This is a critical component of bringing in the qualitative, contextual, and cultural elements of how your team views its performance. In this case, we can see for a closed sprint all of the poll-based questions that have been asked of this specific team. Questions can then be expanded to see how the teams have responded individually, where the breadth of specific answers may give a prompt to bring this particular question into your retro so you can have an open-based conversation with the team to understand why the team feels so varied in that particular aspect of its way of working. The second aspect to helping teams improve their performance is creating a dedicated space called team input that captures the team's based conversation on what they felt they did well, what they felt held them back, and where they should act to improve for the next iteration. This builds, if you like, a data history that combines both the qualitative aspects of their way of working with the quantitative aspects that come from the sprint's metric-based performance for the team. And so in this way, if you toggle and scroll through prior sprints, you can get a quick view of the threads or trends that may be continuing throughout the team's sprint-based performance and really ensure that the quality of the review is not as a lot of teams experience with respect to a bit of a Groundhog Day, but actually it's a fresh, renewed focus on what they can do differently. If the team conducts its retrospective outside of Umano, for example in Miro or in Confluence, they can simply add the URL for that so that again, all of the contextual information related to their sprint-based metrics can be captured in a central hub. The third aspect to help teams continuously improve comes from Umano's Insights, where our AI-powered guidance helps teams bring data-based reflection into their retrospective. Here, Umano is providing observations around what went well so that the teams can genuinely celebrate improvement, as well as flag things that they are lagging on and therefore may need to take a closer look. And in this case, teams can get a view of the observations being made by Umano, as well as suggestions to cross-check perhaps other metrics to see or look for any adverse impacts that this particular practice may be having on other dimensions of their ways of working. And that wraps up Active Cycle Hub. Performance-based insights as well as team vibe to really measure and track team productivity and engagement, from which embedded insights help teams to continuously improve the way they plan more accurately and predictably, track more adaptably and with agility, and build that reflective muscle to really continuously improve and take focused action to level up.